That means torn off arms, torn off legs, its intestines, stench and filth on the body. You've wet yourself, you've soiled yourself. It's an extremely hard emotional state. A person who has never used anything in their entire life ends up using there.
When you're on methadone, you can forget a little. Somehow there is, how should I put it? It's not that you gain strength. It's more that you can distance yourself from those horrors and from that constant anxiety there.
In recent history, no army has fought for 4 years without rotation. And these people come back with their biochemistry changed. And they're not interested in anything anymore. Not family, not home, not work, not career. And they've become used to danger. And the drug dampens this part. And then that becomes a problem.
Drugs have long been a part of warfare. During World War II, Nazi Germany distributed millions of methamphetamine tablets to troops. U.S. forces issued stimulants like Dexedrine to pilots from World War II through the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. During the Vietnam War, up to 15% of American soldiers used heroin, not to enhance performance, but to cope with the effects of war. 4 years into Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, reports suggest the use of both stimulants and opioids is rising, to stay in the fight and to cope with its consequences.
The cases of using, sometimes occasionally or more regularly, are quite widespread. And we could talk about that probably more than half of people who are in the active duty, meaning on the front line, have some sort of experience of using. That could be drugs, but also alcohol, and sometimes combination of both, or even combination of several active substances and alcohol.
It all started after my first injury. I was wounded in the arm.
Dmitro is a lieutenant in the Marine Infantry. He commanded troops during his service and was wounded in combat. At the time of our interview, he was on medical leave undergoing rehabilitation.
I was giving pain-killing injections. And the painkillers made me feel really good. When I was discharged from the hospital and released, I felt bad. I returned to service and I felt bad. You have to find something. You have to manage somehow. I started taking Pringolin, a painkiller. They brought us new soldiers as reinforcements for our battalion. And one of them went straight into action. And on his very first day, he did not return from the mission. He was killed, unfortunately. After that, we went over to them. I saw that they were all sitting there, not sober. I sat them all down at the table. We started talking. I said, "Guys, what happened?" At that time, we had very heavy losses, and the guys could hardly cope with it psychologically, and they bought me a bag of methadone tablets. There were probably 500 or 700 in there. I don't know exactly. Of course, I confiscated the tablets. I told them not to get involved with that kind of stuff. But since then, I've had my own experience with painkillers. I knew that methadone is also a painkiller, just with a different effect. I started taking 2-3 tablets and slowly reached the point where I could no longer control myself. I began to consume regularly. My commanders noticed that something was wrong with me. Honestly, it is very difficult for me to talk about this because it's a very intimate topic. But basically, I had a very good position. I had over 200 people under my command. And when I lost all of that because of drug abuse, I thought, I have to do something. Somehow I have to solve this problem.
Most of those people I work with are in the assault brigades. These are the young people, 35, 40 years old. They are the pride of the nation.
Ihor Alferov is a psychotherapist with more than 20 years of experience treating addiction. In this war, he has also served as a military chaplain, supporting troops and working with soldiers struggling with substance abuse.
And the stress increases, and you grasp that every day could be your last. The work of assault brigades is extremely difficult, morally. During a mission, there's no drug use, absolutely none. But when you come back, when they are safe, when they can shower, when they're in a house, then the psyche lets go, only with great difficulty. And yes, some then resort to some kind of doping.
Могут помыться, там это. Но психика отпускает, и очень тяжело. И поэтому, да, некоторые ребята могут взять такой допинг.
They're exposed to multiple, maybe minor trauma, physical trauma, but it adds up, and they start experiencing severe pain syndromes that are often not treated by usual, medications that are available over the counter, like ibuprofen or paracetamol, and they are seeking other effective means to control their pain because they have to return to duty and participate in the missions.
Victoria Timoshevska is the Executive Director of Health Solutions, an advocacy organization that researches drug use in both civilian life and the military. During the war, her organization has documented rising substance use linked to combat stress and gaps in mental health support.
Lastly is that, indeed, even in cases when they're injured severely, they being evacuated, hospitalized, treated, and come back to duty, they continue to have some poorly managed pain syndrome, as well as some elements of PTSD and other psychological conditions that would require probably a combination of medical management, pharmaceutical management, and psychotherapy. So I would say it's not drug abuse. It often starts with self-medications because of the conditions that they are in.
Well, there are not many comrades left, very few. Those I trained with, those I served with, not many. Most of them are no longer alive.
Stas was mobilized in 2023 and joined the infantry. After basic training, he was deployed to the Zaporizhia region, one of the fiercest fronts of the counteroffensive. In 2024, he left his unit and is in hiding now.
I probably started using as early as training. There was such a mood among everyone. It started with alcohol, and then everyone snorted amphetamine. When I first arrived in the direction of Zaporizhia, everything was calm. There was no heavy combat, nothing. And then methadone appeared. When you're on methadone, you can forget a little. Somehow you get a feeling of, how can I put it, not that you gain strength, but you can distance yourself from these horrors and from this constant anxiety. You are constantly tense, constantly under stress. There's a lack of sleep, a heavy overload. I had never served before, and for me, it was immensely stressful. And methadone gave me reserves. But you know what they say, there's a price to everything. Without methadone, I could no longer manage. I couldn't even get out of bed. And then it became an addiction. There was very heavy shelling. The Russians began some kind of counterattack. Our company was shattered. I won't say how, but I had some help getting out of there. That's when you understand the value of life, how quickly you can lose it. And I prayed to God, and I pleaded, if I manage to somehow get out of here alive, then I will stop using drugs.
When a person does these drugs that many do there, salts, alpha PVP, and similar, they have a very strong effect on the perception. That means reality and what he actually sees differ extremely. For example, we had a case. A major who was with us was shot, a very good man, my mentor. 18 shots in the back. Then the shooter even changed the magazine and shot another soldier. He walked up to him and fired 3 shots into his head. There was also another guy who shot his comrade, emptied the whole magazine into him, just like that, without speaking. He turned around, chambered around, and emptied the entire magazine at him. Drugs bring bad luck with them. They make people weak.
Many Ukrainian soldiers have been serving since the start of the full-scale invasion more than 4 years ago. With recruitment falling short and no demobilization plan in sight, many remain on the front line for months at a time, often without rest or leave.
People who regularly consume drugs or are addicted burn out quickly. They die or something happens to them. But there are also people who just consume periodically. And then there are the natural stress hormones inside their bodies, such as cortisol, adrenaline, which are produced in war.
And the biggest problem, as I see it, is our country cannot offer people normal, competent social support after they are discharged from hospitals. That means we have no institutions, no services where one can go. You know, where veterans can meet. I don't know, somehow spend time. That they are taken somewhere. To museums, into nature, somewhere. We don't have psychologists working to provide some kind of rehabilitation services for people who need help. We do not have anything like that, and that's very problematic.
No, it will not go away. Moreover, I would say that there are people, and there is evidence that people can start self-medicating after they actually being demobilized due to their conditions, particularly because of lack of services that they can access in their civilian lives. Secondly, there is still a lot of stigma, especially among male population, that referring to such services is an indication of your weakness and inability to self-control, and therefore it will be a growing problem for the communities.
These commanders don't cover up these issues. They throw people out to maintain the reputation of their unit. And there are other commanders who either do not understand the scale of the problem or think there is no need to deal with it because they do not take part in operations.
Drug abuse has not been acknowledged as a problem by Ukraine's military leadership for a long time. Government support for soldiers struggling with substance abuse was only recently added to Ukraine's veteran strategy as a pilot project. Drug use remains strictly prohibited in the armed forces. Soldiers who are caught can face severe penalties. If drugs are found during an autopsy, families risk losing state compensation payments.
The informal practice is that once it is not affecting your ability to fulfill your duty and participate in missions and operations, it is tolerated. Meaning tolerated that they're giving a blind eye on it. Again, as long as you operate, as long as you come to your duty and you fulfill the tasks that are given to you.
I did half a year of rehabilitation, and for over a year I've been a volunteer. That's what I do. I talk to others, and I try somehow to understand them. There's a saying, when you're drowning, you have to save yourself. To teach them how to swim and convince them that it is possible. That is what I am doing right now.
As long as the flag of victory is not flying, I would like to continue fighting, despite my health limitations. But how will that work? I don't know. I'm going before a military medical board, and my case may lead to discharge. Very likely I will be discharged. I will be discharged, and then we'll see.
First of all, this is my country, and I will live here. I want to be able to cross the street without being afraid that someone will drive through a red light. I want to be able to talk to people, look them in the eyes without fearing that someone will snap, pull out a pistol, and shoot. I have 2 small granddaughters. I don't want them to marry sick people, but normal people. And in the end, I want these people to come back and not be the problem of my country, but its pride.